Hi everyone, my name is Queenie and I'm the founder and director of Q Contemporary. Thank you everyone for coming today, for joining us virtually together with Hong Kong Art Basel. I'm extremely excited to be showing my Central Eastern Europe contemporary collections along with works from K11 Art Foundation. Q Contemporary is founded 4 years ago. It was founded from a personal art journey of collecting Central Eastern Europe contemporary art. Then we decided to open a space in Budapest to showcase Central Eastern Europe contemporary art through the collection and exhibitions. Q Contemporary focused on 17 countries in Eastern Europe. For example, we have Hungary, Serbia, Czech Republic, Poland and Ukraine, etc. When I first went to the region 4 years ago, visiting all these artist studios, I actually fell in love with the raw energy and then the idea of they're still creating artwork when there's no art market. I was so fascinated by them, and then my interest deepened when I was traveling from countries to countries. And this is how I started to collect all these works. And I'm excited to show you today about a few artists that is so close to my heart, and I hope you enjoy the showcase. Thank you everyone.
Good evening everyone. My name is Esther Csillag. I am an art historian and I joined Q Contemporary since its very beginning. And being a Hungarian, I am thrilled to work on this project because we are bringing the different countries of the region together, and at this showcase we brought it out from the region and showing it first time for the Hong Kong audience. This showcase is called Tracing the Fragments. Indeed, here we didn't want to give a comprehensive image about Central Eastern European contemporary art, but rather with the artists present at the show, give fragments of each of these artists, which are still part of the broad history. And now I would like to go to the first artwork at the showcase. During his over 50 years career, she practiced various mediums, from photography, video art, painting, sculpture as well. And here what we can see is a work from her late series, which she started to do in the last 10 years, which originates from the tradition of geometry. Geometry had a great tradition in Central Eastern Europe because at the beginning of the 20th century, we had the Bauhaus, constructivism, and also suprematism, which left a huge impact on the regional culture. And she was practicing geometry in its very strict form in the 70s and 80s. But what we can see is that by her late age, she softens and she smoothens, and basically we can see that she starts to be interested in visualizing the movement of these geometric shapes. And by shaping the canvas, which is a wood panel covered with canvas, and adding color to it, she enables us to see the different shapes which are in dialogue and in connections with each other. And now we can slowly go to the next work. In the meantime, you can see behind other works which belong to the tradition of the geometry. We are going to talk about Artem Volokitin. He is a 40-year-old artist living and working in Ukraine. Painting is called Chandelier. Indeed, you can see here that the painting is masterfully executed, layers on layers, which can take up to a few months to execute them. When he finished his academy in 2005, he moved to London and became assistant at Anthony Gramley's studio. And during that time, the subject matter of his painting was human figures, which also a beautiful series, I have to say. But in 2013, with all the complicated situation in the country, he started to focus more on the contrast between normality and abnormality. And in that sense, that contrast is present also here at this painting, where we can see that the nature is showed in the dark, with the dark colors, and the chandeliers, which are coming from an urban setting, are in the light. And this contrast between the nature and the urban is highlighted also with the colors, the dark colors behind and the light bright colors of the chandelier. And the movement, which creates a kind of suspense with which the viewer is left, creates this kind of danger, which we don't know if it's a danger towards the nature, towards the human being, and that suspense which makes this painting extremely interesting and mesmerizing. Now we are going to talk about Magdalena Avacanovich. She is a Polish artist, very well known for her large size sculptural installation. Although she didn't study sculpture, she studied textile art, working in a hospital at the age of 13 during the Second World War, and seeing all those sufferings that left a huge impact on her body of work, which are present in the large installations. Here instead we can see a drawing of a series of 4. This is the part number 1, which is showing the life cycle of flies. She was interested also in the dynamics of the nature, animals and plants as well. And indeed here what we can see is the birth, the chaos, which is extremely masterfully presented on this black and white drawing. And knowing her story, it also creates a very positive ending, because you don't know that from this birth what is going to happen. And now slowly we can move on, and behind me you can see the other works present at the exhibition. So we have here 19 works from our collections and 6 works from K11 Art Foundation. And now we are arriving to the section of Central Eastern European female artists, and the first one we are going to talk about is Jetta Bratescu. Jetta Bratescu was a female artist. She was from Romania and she studied painting at the Academy of Fine Arts in Bucharest. However, once she finished the Academy of Painting, she never practiced painting anymore. She practiced other media like photography, video, textile, but her main medium became the drawing itself. And she practiced that so much that at a certain point she said that my hand knows much more than my mind. And she was also extremely playful, and we can see that this generation who went through difficult times actually were very positive. And here what we can see that she created this series called Capriccio with closed eyes. It always made up by 2 drawings. The upper drawing is made with the closed eyes, and we can see how masterful she was, because you can still see the 3 figures which are interacting with each other. And the lower drawing shows an unreadable letter, and she always stressed the importance of the basic element of the drawing, which was the line. And as we can see the line at the upper part here, the line is also the basic element of the writing. So they are perfectly complementing each other. And now we can slowly move to the other artist that we are going to talk about. She is Mira Bradka from Serbia. She was born near to Belgrade, Paznova, and after finishing her studies at the Academy of Fine Arts in Belgrade, she moved to Rome, where also she finished the academy. After she stayed in the city and became member of the group called Illumination, led by the Japanese artist Nobuya Abe. He said that a contemporary artist is contemporary because it's using the color as the light. Indeed, that is why she moved to the technique of tempera. So here we can see a painting which is on a wood panel is tempera, because it has such a bright color by themselves that they create light. Although we can see again small geometric forms next to each other, here we are not talking or we are not seeing a work which belongs to the tradition of geometry, but her interest was mainly focusing on the changing of the light, which from one color to another creates different visual effect. And she is extremely interesting, one of the less known artists present at this showcase. And we have been doing a great research on her work. And we are happy to have here 3 works of her that you can slowly see while we are passing to the next artist. And slowly we are arriving to Anahula. She is one of the young artists present here at the showcase. She is in her early 30s, lives in Prague in Czech Republic. Her father is a carpenter and she was thinking to become his assistant. But actually then she ended up studying at the Academy of Fine Arts, and due to her success, now it's his father that helping her out. And she goes back to the tradition of Soviet sculpture, where they use the concrete as the basic element. And this shows a busto with a metal sheet print on the face, which is showing a pansy flower. And it's amazing to see how she accessed this heavy tradition of the busto. Busto, usually we can see heroic figures of politics and wars, usually male figures. But here we can see a flower, an anonymous figure, which is contrasted also with the material of the concrete and the metal sheet, which is reoccurs at her other works as well. And pansy, as we know, was the favorite flower of her grandmother, and she was planting it everywhere, to the garden, church, and in the cemetery. And in the language of flowers, it means an uncorresponded love. And it's amazing how she accessed this heavy tradition and showing an anonymous figure and this flower. Now we can slowly move to the last work, a Hungarian artist, Carmen Sierto. And Carmen Sierto was an important avant-garde artist in Hungary. Indeed, we can see that this elder generation were all underground artists till the 90s. And after the political change, they became the mainstream. Carmen Sierto was one of the co-founders of the Page Workshop. It's a city in Hungary where they were interested very much in the various shapes of geometric shapes. He worked on enamel and prints.
Thank you everyone for coming, joining us virtually. We are very happy that we get to show a few artists that is very close to our hearts to you. Our space in Budapest will open later this year, so hopefully when travel restrictions gone, I can meet all of you in person in Budapest very soon. Thank you very much and stay tuned. Bye!